Welcome back to Crop Corner, where we dig deep into gardening secrets that actually work. Right now, gardeners worldwide are wasting half their nutrients watching them literally evaporate into thin air, and they don't even know it's happening. There's a centuries-old Japanese technique that's about to change everything you think you know about feeding your soil, and the results are so dramatic that once you try it, you'll never go back to regular composting again. The technique is called fermentation composting, and it works on a completely different principle than anything you've tried before. While traditional composting relies on oxygen-loving bacteria slowly breaking down materials over months, this Japanese approach uses beneficial microorganisms to rapidly ferment your kitchen waste in a sealed, oxygen-free environment. Here's where it gets fascinating. Traditional composting methods, despite their popularity, have a hidden flaw that costs you dearly. During the normal breakdown process, significant amounts of nitrogen and carbon escape into the atmosphere as gases. You're essentially watching valuable nutrients vanish before they ever reach your plants. The fermentation method locks everything inside the material through an oxygen-free process, preserving every single nutrient for your soil. Nothing gets wasted, nothing evaporates, and everything goes directly into building richer, more productive garden beds. Getting started requires minimal investment and almost no learning curve. You'll need a specialized bucket with an airtight seal and a small tap near the bottom for draining liquid. While commercial versions exist, many resourceful gardeners build their own using food-grade buckets with tight-fitting lids and a simple spigot installed at the base. The critical factor is maintaining that oxygen-free environment because even small air pockets can disrupt the fermentation and allow unwanted decomposition. The second essential component is inoculated bran, which carries the powerful microorganisms that drive the entire system. Garden suppliers sell pre-made versions, but you can also create your own by mixing molasses, water, and starter culture with wheat bran or similar materials, then fermenting it for about a week before drying and storing. Making your own not only saves money, but ensures you always have a steady supply on hand. Start by sprinkling a thin layer of inoculated bran across your empty bucket's bottom. This jumpstarts fermentation by ensuring beneficial microbes are present from the very beginning. As you collect kitchen scraps throughout the day, add them in layers. After each addition, sprinkle approximately 2 tablespoons of bran for every inch of food waste, ensuring good coverage across the surface. Here's where most beginners make their crucial mistake. After adding scraps and bran, you must firmly press everything down, compacting it thoroughly to eliminate air pockets. Remember, you're creating an oxygen-free environment, and trapped air invites undesirable molds and bacteria. Think of packing a suitcase tightly, squeezing out every possible gap. Once compressed, immediately reseal the lid. Minimize how often you open the bucket by adding scraps just once or twice daily, rather than after every meal. During fermentation, liquid accumulates at the bucket's bottom. This amber-colored tea contains extraordinary concentrations of beneficial microorganisms, enzymes, and soluble nutrients. Drain it every 2 to 3 days without fail, because letting it sit too long creates unpleasant odors and disrupts fermentation. This liquid becomes a potent fertilizer when diluted properly. Mix 1 part tea with 100 parts water before applying to plants. The undiluted version is highly acidic and concentrated, capable of burning plant roots, so never skip dilution. Many gardeners report dramatic improvements in plant vigor, flowering, and fruit production after regular applications. You can also pour undiluted tea down drains, where beneficial microbes break down organic buildup in pipes. When your material finishes fermenting, go ahead and open the bucket. You'll find scraps that look pickled and preserved. White mold covering the surface is perfectly normal, and honestly, it indicates successful fermentation. The material should smell sweet and tangy, kind of like vinegar or fermented vegetables. A rotten or putrid smell means something went wrong, usually because there wasn't enough bran or there was just too much air exposure. Now comes the final transformation. Bury this pre-composted material in your garden soil, where organisms will finish breaking it down over the next 2 to 4 weeks. Don't scatter it on the surface. Instead, dig a trench or hole at least 8 inches deep where you plan to plant within the coming weeks. Empty your bucket into this hole and cover completely with soil. The fermented material remains quite acidic at this stage, so, avoid planting directly into it immediately. Give it 2 to 4 weeks for soil biology to fully integrate and neutralize the material. Many gardeners use a rotation system, preparing planting beds weeks ahead by burying fermented material so enriched soil is always ready throughout the growing season. For container or raised bed gardening, where burying isn't really practical, just mix small amounts of fermented material with about 3 to 4 times its volume in regular soil, or even your existing compost. Then, let this mixture sit for several weeks before you use it so that everything has a chance to fully integrate. You can also create incredibly rich potting soil by simply layering fermented material with soil in a separate container. Let it mature for about a month before you start filling your pots, and you'll really notice the difference. Unlike conventional composting, which, forces you to avoid things like meat, dairy, oils, and cooked foods because they attract pests and create foul odors, this fermentation method actually accepts all those materials. The sealed, oxygen-free environment and acidic conditions prevent putrefaction and totally eliminate those horrible smells that usually come with decomposing food waste. You can divert virtually all kitchen scraps from landfills, transforming them into valuable soil amendments regardless of origin. Gardeners using this method consistently report results surpassing conventional composting or commercial fertilizers. Plants growing in fermented and rich soil display deeper green foliage, more vigorous growth, superior disease resistance, and substantially higher yields. Increased microbial activity improves soil structure, enhancing drainage in clay soils and water retention in sandy soils. Root systems develop more extensively, allowing plants to access water and nutrients efficiently even during stressful periods. Perhaps most impressive is how this approach builds long-term soil health and sustainability. Unlike chemical fertilizers that degrade soil structure and reduce biological activity over time, fermentation composting continuously builds fertility with each application. You're creating a self-sustaining system where kitchen waste feeds your garden, which produces food, generating more kitchen waste. This beautiful closed loop reduces environmental impact while boosting gardening results, turning former waste into your garden's most valuable resource. Whether you're working a large homestead or tending containers on an apartment balcony, this method adapts beautifully to your situation. The compact, odor-free system works indoors year-round, letting you create valuable soil amendments regardless of weather or available space. If you found this guide valuable and want to keep discovering powerful techniques to transform your gardening success, subscribe to Crop Corner and, hit that notification bell so you never miss our in-depth guides. Share this video with fellow gardeners ready to discover what their soil has been missing. Now get out there and start fermenting your way to the garden of your dreams.